From a life on your own to a family of your own. From small passions to huge successes. From the saddest endings to happier beginnings. From walking her to school to walking her down the aisle. Whatever change, one thing that's constant is home. Celebrating 30 years of life moments. Avida.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Investing for a Lifetime Real Estate in the New Normal. I'm your host, Shella Flores, and I'm delighted to lead you in this journey of equipping yourselves to be ready for more of life's inspiring possibilities. For those of you who may not be aware, August is Avida's move in month, and we are excited to kick off our month long activities today with this learning webinar in collaboration with Ayala Land and BPI. Ready to Move is an initiative of Avida to help equip you to move forward with your life goal but of owning your dream home, and we cannot be any prouder to stand with Ayala Land and BPI in making this happen. As leaders in the property development and banking under one conglomerate, Ayala Land and BPI are coming out stronger and more resilient during this time of opportunity. The partnership will start off with a series of virtual talks, which aim to impart valuable information to our valued clients in the fields of financial planning, property investment, and home financing. Through these engagements, we hope to establish continued loyalty and confidence amongst all our customers. Ultimately, our goal is to show everyone that as partners, we will bounce back and thrive in our respective industries amidst the situation, just like how we weathered the previous economic crisis. Ayala Land and BPI stronger together. Here to give us an overview of the partnership is Ayala Land's Corporate Sales Group Head, Ms. Ida Ataide. Ida? Hi, Ida.
Thank you, Shallow. Good day, valued partners and guests. It is indeed a delight having all of you today for the launch of Ayala Land BPI webinar series. Before we proceed with the discussions of our guest speakers, allow me to do a brief introduction about our company. Ayala Land is the Philippines' premier full-line property developer with a vision to enrich the quality of life of Filipinos. Sustainability is at the core of all our developments. Is a strong partner in nation building by coming up with properties that stand the test of time, generate value over time, and remain relevant through the years. Ayala Land visionary mindset stems from its mother company, Ayala Corporation. Pioneering the future, we are part of the country's oldest conglomerate, 185 years old. We are inspired by generations of leaders who have ensured that the company's core values of excellence and social responsibility are carried through. Invested in various business interests such as property development, banking, telecommunication, water, power, manufacturing, automotive, education, and of course, health. From our humble beginnings in Makati back in 1940s, our estates have been the centers for convergence in the regions where they are present and contributed to local economic development. The entry of Ayala Land into our region is associated with progress. Beyond the residence, once you're buying a complete community, our estate houses all business lines, allowing for a complete living experience. Continuously expanding our reach to bring progress to more areas around the country, we now have 29 estates within 57 growth centers. As pioneers in master plan communities, we see to it that the character of our development is made suitable for the natural features of the area. These are the principles we keep in mind when developing our estates. We have site resilience, pedestrian mobility and transit connectivity, resource efficiency, local economic development on the employment that we generate in the area. With our estates having 40 to 70% dedicated to open and green spaces, this shows the increased efforts in our sustainability drive. We are fortunate to have a strong brand, which our customers continue to trust because of the brand's track record that was built through the years. This is carried over to the various subsidiaries and product lines under our company. We're able to deliver the Ayala Land quality of service right from the start through our construction property company, which is NBC. We continue to care for the property, ensuring that it is well maintained, secured, and safe through ATMC. We have a wide range of residential products that cater to all market segments. We have Ayala Land Preview for luxury, Albea brand for upscale, Our affordable brand is Avida, and our economic housing is Amaya, and socialized housing is Bella Vita. We have new retail formats such as community malls. We also have office buildings, our own brand of hotel, which is Seda, Earthstrip, which is actually Ayala Land brand, complementing our hospitality products. And lastly, we have Clock In and the Flats, which are shared spaces for co-working and co-living. Ayala Land is poised for growth, and these are mitigated because of this highly diversified portfolio. We continue to be a strong brand, maintaining the trust of our customers as validated by these awards in various fields of governance, finance, marketing, design, and sustainability, being recognized not only in the Philippines but also globally. Before I end my introduction, let me share the thoughts of our leaders about this partnership. Starting with Ayala Land President and CEO Bobby P, he said, our joint initiative is a testament to our shared vision and commitment to our customers. And that is to deliver products and services that enable Filipinos to achieve their goals for themselves and their families. Despite the currently challenging environment, we continue to focus our efforts in providing Filipinos with diverse residential options that cater to their needs, with the sustainable communities that will thrive and grow in value over time. End quote. Here is a message from the President and CEO of BPI, Mr. Cesar Bongpansi. He said, BPI's vision of building a better Philippines expressed every time we offer financial advice or execute financial transactions or finance streams, affording Filipinos the ability to have a place of their own, to raise their families, or as an investment as investment in the future. It's one of the most meaningful ways by which we express our vision. In this spirit, we are delighted to partner with Ayala Land, with many measures the country's leading real estate developer, in this initiative to encourage investing in real estate and one of the most resilient asset classes through both good and bad times. End quote. And lastly, a message from BPI Family Savings Bank President Ms. Jean Vico. She said, market research shows that many Filipinos have decided to postpone their dreams in light of this pandemic. Uncertain of the future, they have become wary of making big investment and pursuing their aspiration of owning a home. It is with this backdrop that Ayala Land and BPI Family have collaborated to bring hope and a perspective that together we can. We believe that this crisis reinforces the prime value of life and family. As we dream for a brighter future for our family, we renew our commitment to enable you with the possibilities of making your dream home affordable. End quote. It is with much excitement that we officially start this webinar series. Thank you and enjoy the web.
Thank you very much, Ms. Ida Ataide, for sharing with us the reason and purpose behind the partnership between Ayala Land and BPI. Truly, we are stronger together. Now, without further ado, let me introduce to you our first guest speaker for today. Mr. Ed Del Valle is the business unit head of Avida Land. His career in real estate industry spans 25 years and counting, having handled sales operations, recruitment and training, land acquisition and business development, and international operations. Mr. Ed Del Valle earned his Bachelor of Science degree in Marketing Management from De La Salle University and holds a master's degree from the Southern New Hampshire University in Manchester, New Hampshire, USA. Ladies and gentlemen, let us all welcome Mr. Ed Del Valle. Sir Ed?
Hi, Cheryl. Well, thank you again for that very generous introduction. And one thing that worries me is you always mention how long I've been in the real estate, so 25 years. And that means I started real estate when I was about 15 years old. But anyway, the topic today is actually something that I've been doing over and over. I've been with Ayala Land for about 15 years, and most of my stay with Ayala Land has been spent overseas. I was the one who spearheaded the op of international offices like in Europe, the US, Middle East, and Asia. And we're going to the different cities and towns where Filipinos are, the OFWs particularly. And this seminar, actually, the goal is of the Ayala Land officers is actually, to spread this, vision, and this is our mission to give some sense into the Filipinos about investing. So the next slide. Actually, we're just going to talk about several, three key points about how the importance of investing, what are the methods of investing. But before I go on, I'd like to just, say three things. Well, first of all, I'd like to thank everyone for, in behalf of Ayala Land, Avida, and BPI for joining us today. And second, I'll be talking mostly in English, but in, in, in some cases, I'll be talking in the local vernacular. So if you are watching, hopefully everyone who's watching can understand Tagalog, but if there's someone right now who can't understand Tagalog, pull someone in and, have them sit right next to you. Now, what you do if I start speaking in Tagalog and you can't understand, just look at your seatmate, and if he or she laughs, just laugh, and if he or she not, just nod. But anyway, I can better express, some things in the local vernacular. Now, the third thing is, as I said, hopefully all of you keep an open mind. There may be some things I will say that may offend you. Rest assured that this is not something personal. This is just an observation and um, an opinion. So going to the next slide, the three important things that we're going to talk today are basically the importance. So we're going to answer three questions. One, why is it important for us to invest? Why do we need to invest? Second, is real estate a good investment? And third, what are the important considerations when investing in real estate? So on the next slide, we're going to answer the first question. Why? Bakit nga ba? Why do we need to invest? Okay. A lot of times when we go overseas, the officers and my colleagues in Ayala, this is a very sad observation. There is no doubt. The next slide, please. There's no doubt that Filipinos are very, very hard workers. In fact, we are one of the best workers in the world. That's why there are over 12 million Filipinos who are working overseas and everywhere, right? I don't think there's a big city in the world, where there's no Filipino. And, I've been going around, as I said, for the last 15 years, and I was even stationed in Italy for about 3 years. And, I had so much pride, actually, whenever I was going around. I would create some confusion because whenever I book a hotel, and usually, my name is Edelberto Del Valle, so it's very Spanish sounding. And when I get to the hotel, the confusion starts because they cannot, relate the Del Valle, Edelberto Del Valle, to the face that they're seeing, because I look more like a Yun Bin or a Kim Kim Jong. But anyway, I was just kidding. I'm more like a Sammo Hung or a Jackie Chan. But the only time that they'll realize why, the Del Valle looks like an Asian is when they see my passport. And everyone will say, "Oh, you're Filipino." And but the first thing they'll say after that is like, Filipinos are very, very good workers. They're very disciplined. They're hardworking. They're very courteous. And I said, yeah, that's true. All of that is true. When we are overseas in the U.S. and Europe and Asia, in the Middle East, we're so disciplined. We follow the rules. We fall in line. And I said, just don't send them back to the Philippines. I don't know why, right? Airport pa lang, sir, hindi na tayo pumipila. But anyway, going back, as I said, there's no question that we are hard workers. And as workers, we work 30, 40 years. We leave our families. And most of us, sacrifice. But for some reason, we do not progress. What we would like for Filipinos to know and remember is that we should not stop at working. We have to get to the next level when you are working and then you start to save, put that savings in an investment, and then have your money start working for you. Why? Now, this is basically the reason why. When you are working, especially when you're young, you need some sort of investment already. And that investment will give you an additional income, and sometimes it can be bigger than your salary, and that will make you less dependent on your salary. I'm not suggesting that you stop working, but this is actually the best time. And this is where you get so productive when you are working and you are not solely dependent on your salary. You know why? Because now you are working because you want. You want to work and you love the work. And you're not working because you have to. Okay. No, but we do not stop there. We have to get again to the next level, which is the most important for a lot of people, you know, especially right now, which means we have to get to the level wherein at some point in time, it's only our money or our investments that's working for us. Why? Well, simply because we all grow old, right? And there will come a point, ladies and gentlemen, that no matter how much you want to work, one, there will be physical limitations. Kahit na kung gusto nyo magtrabaho, you will not be able to work anymore. And second, even if you want to work, nobody might hire you. It almost happened to me. I was just telling everyone a little while ago that, back in December, I had a near fatal heart attack. And I was I had a flatline twice. I was revived twice. And the good thing is, until now, and hopefully nothing, I don't see any, and the doctors don't see any, deformities, no malfunction, and I'm still able to work. But what if something happened to me? What if I can no longer function, like I used to? And as I said, it's another case is what happened. I hope right now, one of the things that we learned from this pandemic is that in a snap of a finger, any second, our lives can change so drastically. And if we are not ready, you know, everything will be so uncertain, and everything right now, is just great. One of the good things that came out of my heart attack is that I've been able to prepare, and the good thing is I was able to invest a little bit in real estate. And despite of the limitations right now, I can have some income to support my medicines and my hospitalizations, my checkups, because of the property rentals. Well, and another thing, that is so compelling that why we need to have our money and our savings working for us in the future is this. Unfortunately, in the Philippines, our retirement system is not that good yet. Diba? Hindi pa ho siya ganun kaganda eh. And a lot of our parents, elderly, are so dependent on the children. And I'm not saying that, it's not good to be dependent on our children and our grandchildren. But the question is, can they help you? There's no doubt about the willingness, to take care of our elders. That's one of the traits of Filipinos. But can they, right? I'm sure, that they would want to take care of parents, but sometimes they also have kids, grandchildren to take care of their own. So on the next slide, another thing is, another reason why we should invest is, yes, to answer the question in the Philippines. One of the most frequent questions is, bakit ba ang mga mayayaman sa Pilipinas lagi lang mayaman o lalong yumayaman? while the poor gets poorer? A lot of times we answer that with a very simple question, because they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. And it's very, very simple. All we have to do actually, okay, is invest in assets that give us a bigger net worth. Because a lot of times people invest in the wrong things. I'm not saying that you don't need the car, you don't need all the appliances, the cell phones. You need them, in order for you to survive and exist and function properly in these times. But sometimes, a lot of times, Filipinos overdo it. And we forget that we should invest in an asset that will, give us value over time. Later on, in the next slides, I'll talk more about this. But as I said, this is one of our goals, right? We exist in search of our destiny. And one of our destinies actually to be able to have a better life, to provide a better life for us and for our family. And one way to do this is increase our net worth and build our wealth over time. Okay, and the next slide, we're now going to answer the question as to why real estate is a good investment. There are several reasons why real estate, but one of the most pressing reasons and compelling reasons why we should invest in real estate is this. Real estate increases in value over time. This is one asset wherein your wealth grows a lot over time, as opposed to assets wherein the value depreciates over time. And this is what I was saying earlier. In order for you to be able to build your net worth, you must be able to invest in assets wherein your value increases vis-a-vis your liabilities. I worked for a car company when I was in the US after I took my MBA. And in the US, when you buy a car, for the first 2-3 years, you are what we call upside down. Why is that? Because an automobile depreciates, right? Just take, for instance, a 1 million, investment in a vehicle. You put 1 million, and get a loan for 1 million. And in the first 2 years, you're most likely upside down. What do we mean? As soon as you walk out of the dealership, the car value of 1 million grows down to about 700,000. That's 70% of the retail value, while your loan remains at 1 million. And it will take a couple of years of payments, 2 to 3 years, to bring that down to probably, let's say about half, let's say about 50% or 500,000. At that point in time, that's the only time that you're going to build equity. Why? Because the value of your car remains at probably 6 or 550,000. And then when you pay it off, your loan, that's the only time that you're going to have a value of equity of about 500,000. As opposed to investing in a condominium or a land or a house on lot, wherein your value grows over time. For instance, with the same million, if you invest it in a condominium, right away, you're never going to be upside down. Why? Because the liability of 1 million is going down while the property value continues going up. And after a couple of years, you already have an equity. Let's just say the value grew by 20%, so it's about 1.2 million. But your loan is now down by about 200,000, so that means you owe 800. Well, the value is 1.2 million. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is your net worth. The 400,000 that you built in a couple of years. And as the time, go by, the value of the property just goes up. And while the liability goes down, therefore, your net worth just keeps on going up. And you don't have to look far. Look at the property values here. Makati. In 1994, there were about 100,000 per square meter. Now, they're almost 500 to 1 million per square meter, depending on where the area is, BGC or Pigas. And everywhere, no matter where in the Philippines, property values are going up. That is why I think, we don't have to look far. Our grandparents, our parents, brothers and sisters, we all try to invest in real estate. One of the reasons why, real estate is a good investment is actually the demand. We have an unending demand for real estate. Meron nung kasabihan sa Pilipinas eh. Okay? For as long as there are people in love, for as long as there are people getting married, and most especially for as long as there are in-laws, there are people buying houses. There will be people buying houses, right? Why? Because you ladies, when you're asked, by your boyfriends, to marry them, what's the first question that comes out of your mouth? Saan mo ako ititira? And then sasabihin ng boyfriend nyo, sa bahay mo na, ayoko, I'm so sweet na No, but then again, in the Filipino culture, it's okay to live with parents. And sometimes, we live, we stay in a room, but it's okay if there's just two of us, even if it's 1, 2 kids. But remember, the kids grow, right? If you have a daughter, you have a son, and they'll probably be demanding a room for each of them. And that is why there's always a constant demand to move out to your own home, to move to a bigger home. And it's an unending demand. And right now, the population of the Philippines just keeps growing. Right? By 2050, the Philippine population will still be young. That's why our economy is expected to grow by leaps and bounds because of the population boom. What used to be our weakness is now the strength of the Philippines. 30% of our population, 30 years from now, will still be in the 30s. If all these young people will get married, they will have families, and they will buy houses and lots and condominiums. So there will never be an unending demand for houses and lots and condominiums. So on the next slide, the third reason why it's good to actually invest in real estate is, if you're making an investment, one of the easiest and most flexible investment is actually real estate. And again, to answer the question again, we were saying, why the rich people keep on going richer or remain rich, is actually one of the reasons why. It's hedging against inflation. If you notice, a lot of people in the Philippines, the rich families, they're always the first ones to invest in new projects, in new condominiums, and they don't just buy one, they buy 2, 3, multiple products. Why? That is because they are hedging against inflation. What do I mean by hedging against inflation? See, over time, the value of our money, right, goes down. What used to be 1 peso per liter in gasoline is now about 50 pesos. What used to be probably 2, 3 pesos per kilo in rice is now about 50, 60 pesos. And when you put your money in real estate, okay, you hedge against this inflation. Why? Because real estate, again, like mentioned in the previous slide, grows over time in value. Let's just see, for example, the people who invested in the first project of Ayala Corporation in Makati, Forbes Park, Las Marinas Village, Bel Air. You know how much the land cost back then in the 1960s? They were about 60 to 70 pesos per square meter. Over time, right, these families lived in the best areas in the country, had their kids grow up close to the best schools, best commercial areas, and amenities. And after 50 years, what they invested, if you invested in 1,000 square meter there, that would have cost you what? At 60,000 pesos. It's now worth
almost $500 million. And this is actually not just true in Makati. This is also true in Alabang. You know how much it costs to buy a land in Ayala, Alabang? Because one of my mom, I grew up in the south, in Parañaque, Las Piñas area. And in 1974, the pre-selling of Ayala, Alabang was 180 pesos per square meter. And Ida was just mentioning this earlier, and now I saw a post last week. A property was being offered in Ayala, Alabang at 150,000. That's times 1,000 of what originally, it cost. So as I said, you can hedge against inflation. Ito po yung sikreto. You buy a lot, let it sleep 20 years, 30 years, you will see that the value of your money invested in land grows over time. Now, there's another way to invest in real estate, and we call this, as a self-liquidating investment. This is actually the technique that allows you to grow fast. It's a little bit riskier, and you really have to have the heart. What we're saying here is that, especially nowadays, in the reselling of condominiums. When I joined Ayala in 2005, I was one of the first projects of Avida Land, which is Avida Tower San Lazaro. I had a chance to sell to a lot of doctors in a university, a very popular university with a hospital nearby in San Lazaro. And I was so surprised because there were doctors buying 5, 6, 7, 8 condominium units. And you know what they were doing? They were buying it at pre-selling. And back then, the studios were only about 900,000. So 30% of that is about what, 270? When they buy at pre-selling, they spread the down payment over the construction period. And then the remaining 70%, they took a loan out from BPI for about 20, 25 years. And it was amazing. I was so amazed that I talked to a doctor and I asked him, why is that? Well, he said, that's our business here, and that's how we grow our wealth. And he said, how is that? He says, well, we only spend about 30%, and we only pay 30% of the property value. After the building is done, now, of course, you have to start paying the bank loan. However, at that point in time, we will already be able to lease that property. And true enough, the monthly amortization was about 7,000, 8,000. I was looking at the computation sheets. And after 3 years, they were able to rent out the property to students for about 16,000, 18,000 per condominium unit. Can you just imagine what, happened to them? They only paid 270,000. Now, the lease is not paying for itself with a little bit of extra. And after the loan terminates, they now have a property worth right now it's probably worth about 3.5, 4 million. And you know how much they spent for that unit? The 30% down payment, which is about 270. Now, as I said, this can be a very, very aggressive move. But right now, what's good about this type of proposition is you have, help. You no longer have to do this on your own. That's why it's so convenient and easy, because you have Avida Leasing Services to help you with the leasing, the contracts, the collection. And we even have Ayala Property Management Corporation that offers also services in providing you with, for instance, the payment of the bills, the cleaning and maintenance of your units. Real estate investment, a very easy and flexible investment, as opposed to investing in something where you have to check it every day and worry about what's going to be happening in this investment, and you have to be very, very, adept in numbers at times. Well, in real estate, all you have to do is once it's leased, have your checks, and then wait for it to clear. So, I'm going to talk about the third question, which is what are the important considerations? Okay. So, as we said, we have to invest in real estate, okay, especially for our future. So the important considerations, well, first, it's about location. So I said location is very important. Location. We can never, not stress it enough. For instance, a lot of Filipinos would want to invest in bigger, land area, but most of them invest in the provinces. And what we were telling, what we're telling everyone is that, it's okay to invest in your hometown, okay? But why do you have to build like 5, 6, bedroom villas when you only use it for like once or twice a year? So what we tell everyone is, when it comes to location, invest in areas wherein, your money will grow faster. And these are the urban areas. Remember, the forecast says that in the next 30 years, about 80% of the world's population will be staying in the urban cities. That's why, the prices in the urban areas are escalating, like Makati, BGC, New Valley. And these are the areas, that you can invest in and have, your property appreciation double, triple, and increase much faster. Now, second is, of course, timing. We always wait. We always wait. A lot of Filipinos always wait. And right now, it's one of the best times to invest. Why? Because the down payments, are affordable. The promos, the discounts, are unmatched. I've never seen this type of offerings, from developers. So for those of you who have tight budgets, now is actually the time because it affords you to invest in something that you've never been able to afford before. Okay. Now, the third is the financial capacity. For instance, in this example, if you have, for instance, some savings right now, this is the best time to actually invest it. All you need is the will and the courage to actually let go of this, savings and put it somewhere that's going to give you, the net worth, the valuation that you would want in the next 5, 6, 10 years. And for instance, with a condominium, if you have some savings of about 700,000 less the discounts and the promos, you can already get a condominium that's RFO or ready for occupancy, and you can have that rented right away. And what you can do is turn this investment into a self-liquidating investment. What do I mean? Get a loan from BPI worth about 2.8 million, and for as low as about 30,000 or even less if you go longer, you will now be able to pay off, okay, the loan using the rent or the lease. And right now, there are still so many options, okay? If you do not have, on the next slide, if you do not have the down payment saved, you can also opt to just go on a stretch payment. Is this possible? Yes, investing is possible for people for as long as you're earning something. Those of you who have work, those of you who have businesses, you can actually invest. And what am I saying? Just let me just give you a brief example, and I hope you bear with me. Okay, this is what we're saying. The being able to invest. Okay, for instance, if this is your income, this represents your income. Usually, about 30% of that is usually what we call the net disposable income. The 70% of your gross salary, whether it's if individual or married, will actually, be covering your taxes, the rent if you're renting, the daily expenses in the house, utilities, groceries, and usually you will have 30% saved up. Okay. Now, but what happens to the 30%? Usually we are unable to save Because this is what happens, right? There will be some sale going on and we start buying things that we usually don't need, right? We go out, we come back, and we realize that we bought so many stuff we don't need. We start going out to restaurants. We also have parties to go to. And of course, there will be more, right? Gimmicks and some friends who might need your help. And usually, this is what happens to your savings, right? Your 30% goes down so small, and according to the Bible, you reap what you sow. Ito na lang yung i-invest mo because of all the expenses that you've done. So if you invest, anong nangyari ang investment mo? Munggo. So what do you reap? Togi, right? So there is a way. For instance, on the next slide, please. If you want, you can go stretch, over 48 months. It's only about right now for a condominium about 14,000. There are even houses of lots. I mean, investment on lots that can go as low as 4,000. And this is what profit. Apparently, it's also Dennis's favorite. He's also one of our favorite. And for instance, let's just go back to this. This is what he's saying. If this is your income, okay, and you have 30% left, what you do is this. Okay? Buy a property, have it deducted from your salary, and take the monthly amortization right away. Now, what happens to the rest? Okay? Magkakasya ba yan? Of course it will. Magkakasya yan eh. Why? Because pagkakasyahin mo eh. Diba? Especially nowadays. You can go back to drinking 3-in-1 for about 5 pesos each. And perhaps, you're going to let's wear shirts that are less, in brands, because there's nobody to show it off to.
Thank you very much for bearing with us. Thank you very much for that sharing, Ed. We'll call you back, sir, in a bit. But I think we got a very good discussion from Mr. Ed Del Valle this afternoon, and would like to thank him for that. We learned so much from you, sir, this afternoon, and it was an enlightening discussion on the current real estate investment opportunities in the Philippines. Thank you also for reminding us on the importance of living in a future-proof, integrated community like Ayala Land, what Ayala Land developments offer. Right. We've invited over one more industry expert, this time in the field of banking, who is here to shed light on everything we need to know about financial planning and home financing. It is my pleasure to continue this learning session by introducing our guest speaker for today, who is ready to further equip you in achieving that dream home. Mr. Dennis Fronda is the Vice President and Division Head of the Retail Loans Group of BPI Family Savings Bank. He is also the Vice Chairman of the Real and Other Properties Acquired Committee, ROPA, and is a member of the Asset and Liability Committee of BPI Family Savings Bank. Mr. Fronda earned his Bachelor of Science degree in accountancy from St. Louis University in 1994, and was the most outstanding commerce graduate and a Jerry Rojas Leadership Awardee. He also holds an associate degree in business administration at the State University of New York. Mr. Fronda is a certified public accountant. Ladies and gentlemen, let us all welcome Mr. Dennis Fronda. Sir Dennis?
Hi, Shella. It's a pleasure to be part of this first of a series of working together with Ayala Land. But unlike my partner, Ed, over there in Ayala Land, my stint with BPI for the past 24 years have been mostly local assignments, from Baguio and Dagupan up north to Lipa and Naga, all the way down to the Visayas and Mindanao. All these 24 years in consumer lending on SME, auto, housing, and personal loans. Well, we are BPI Family Savings Bank, and we are happy to partner with Ayala Land to bring you this afternoon's webinar on investing for a lifetime. Our parent company, Bank of the Philippine Islands, is celebrating its 169th anniversary this month with BPI Family Savings Bank. BPI's consumer banking arm also celebrated last July 35 years of helping Filipinos achieve their aspiration of owning their dream home and securing a comfortable life for their family. The theme is investing for a lifetime, real estate in the new normal. I'd like to start with our role as your trusted advisors. I'd like to start with financial planning. Financial planning could be defined as meeting your personal financial goals, whether it's having enough for short-term financial needs, planning for retirement, saving for your child's college education, or acquisition of assets. How you go about planning your finances depends on your income, your expenses, your living requirements, and your individual goals and desires. And coming up with a plan to fulfill those goals and desires within your financial constraints. Well, how does one really go about planning one's finances? Start with a personal assessment. What's your investment or financial objective? Your objective could depend on your current life stage. Are you just getting started? Are you moving up? Are you already preparing ahead? Getting started, you are establishing your own independence and confidence, taking on new responsibilities, and beginning to understand the value of handling your own finances. You are beginning to dream big. Moving up, you're getting married or planning to have children. At this stage, priority is the security and well-being of your family. You are looking to diversify your finances to beyond the usual savings. Or preparing ahead, building your retirement or nurturing your health and wealth, seizing opportunities to make your money work even harder through a diversified portfolio. Whatever stage you are, having a clear goal or aspiration will give you a compelling reason to save and invest rather than to spend needlessly. So next, set your goals. Are you looking at a short-term or a long-term plan? Is it saving for a gadget or an overseas or local trip? Sadly, one goal that has taken a backseat in this pandemic. Is it planning for your kids' education or is it investing for your retirement, for health protection, or for your estate? Once you've set your goals, reach out to a financial advisor or your bank and learn what you can do. Reach out to us in BPI or reach out to us in BPI Family Savings Bank. When you reach out to us, we will help you plan. For conservative investors, your plan would be wealth preservation. For aggressive investors, capital appreciation is the plan for you. Then comes executing your plans with your trusted advisor, us, BPI. As you progress through your life stage, monitor, reassess, and reevaluate your goals over time if need be. Actually, all of the above steps could be summarized in three simple questions. Number one, where are you now? Number two, where do you want to be? And number three, how will you get there? Among the more common investment options available are a simple savings account or a placement in bonds, an insurance plan, investment in stocks, or the subject of this afternoon's webinar, real estate. Real estate is a popular investment among Filipinos. And unlike the aforementioned investment options, real estate is a tangible asset that usually has a good value appreciation, something that Ed talked about in detail earlier. It could be used as your residence, a place to start, to build, and nurture your own family, or as an investment for its leasing potential. Among the various investment vehicles in the market today, a very resilient industry would be real estate. And BPI Family Savings Bank, with its 35 years of experience in the consumer loans industry, is your solid partner to enable you to implement this desired financial action plan. You'll see that the fastest and easiest way of executing your plan of investing or acquiring real estate is via a housing or home loan. A housing loan is a term loan with a fixed monthly amortization or payment of principal and interest over a predetermined period or term. Aside from the acquisition of real estate, a housing loan could also be used to construct a house on top of a lot that you already own. A housing loan could also be taken out to renovate your existing Avida condominium or house and lot. Or a housing loan could also be obtained with the sole purpose of using the proceeds from the loan for major family expenditures such as acquisition of assets, travel, or other purposes. Now, in the next slide, the more common real estate properties that are acquired via our housing loans are a house and lot, a townhouse, a condominium, or even just a vacant lot, all of which I'm sure Ayala Land has in their inventory. You'll see that a housing loan could be taken out for as low as 400,000 with a minimum term of 1 year and up to 20 years. In the case of the property sold by Ayala Land or by Avida, you could loan up to 90% of the property's net selling price. And with the payment options that Avida is making available for the equity portion, that 10% equity could be stretched and paid up in no time. Now, in the next slide, you'll see that to be eligible, one has to be a Filipino citizen, at least 21 years old, with a minimum household income of just 40,000 per month. Remember, this is total household income. We consider the income of both husband and wife, whether it's from employment, from business, or from the practice of one's profession. The more basic requirements will just be a completely filled up home loan application form, a valid government issued ID, and documents that will support your income, such as your certificate of employment, bank statements, payslips, and the like. On the collateral side, as you will be investing in an Ayala property, Ayala will take care of all the collateral requirements. Now, let us go to a few illustrations. Assuming you want to acquire an Avida house and lot that costs 3 million pesos. In the next slide, you'll see that without a BPI Family Savings Bank housing loan, how long do you think will it take you to get that dream home? Will 10 years do it? Now let's assume you allot or save 10 to 15% of your monthly salary or income. By the end of 10 years, you would have just saved around 800,000 pesos, excluding interest. At the end of 10 years, you will still have a balance of 2.2 million before you can have the dream home of yours. That is, if that Avida property after 10 years would still be sold for just 3 million. Remember, I mentioned at the early part of my presentation that real estate has a good value appreciation. Even Ed earlier talked extensively about the value appreciation of real estate. So most likely that property would now be worth more than 3 million. You'll see that if you let BPI Family Savings Bank help you achieve your dreams today, let us lock that property down at the current selling price of 3 million, and depending on your desired loan term, the minimum required total household income could be as low as 62,000. Banks consider 35 to 50% of your total household income should be available to service your monthly amortization. So guys, what are you waiting for? Fill up that BPI Family Savings Bank housing loan application form, submit the requirements mentioned earlier, we will review, we will process your application, and once approved, just sign on loan documents, provide for any post-approval requirements, then get the keys to your brand new Avida home or condo. But wait, guys, there's more. Cognizant of the COVID situation we are all in right now, BPI Family Savings Bank launched the Step Up Pay Plan. This is the first and only loan solution available today that will enable you to plan and control your monthly budget. With a Step Up Pay Plan, you will be paying as low as 30% of the regular monthly amortization on the first year and allows for gradual increases in your monthly amortization of around 10% only per year. If you look at that illustration presented right now, for a 3 million loan, instead of paying 35,000 on the first year, you will just need to shell out 24,000 per month. You will only get to the regular amortization of 35,000 on the fifth year. You know, this was specially crafted to enable our fellow Filipinos to own their dream homes, their dream condos sooner rather than later. And with that, I'd like to share with you the quote by Warren Buffett. He said, "Someone is sitting under the shade today because someone planted a tree a long time ago. Make today count. Don't delay it further. Start planning and acting for your future today."
Thank you very much, Mr. Dennis Fronda, for sharing with us your valuable insight on financial planning and home financing. That last package that you have on the Step Up Pay term is really good, and it's very timely, as I think many of our fellow Filipinos would want to avail of that program. So to make it possible for you to achieve the life goal of living in such one future-proof development, Avida is now online and available at your own convenience. Seize this chance to avail of our once-in-a-lifetime deals when you reserve today. You may reserve for only 20,000 pesos, save up to 100,000 pesos, and even get a chance to win a laptop, to take home a laptop or an air conditioner when you complete the booking process within 30 days. On top of that, you will be eligible for a one-on-one space planning and interior design consultation with Avida's interior design expert. We urge you to take advantage of these perks, available only until the last day of this month. All right, so we have heard a lot of insights and inputs coming from our two industry experts that we've invited over this afternoon. I think this time would be a good opportunity to ask them some of the questions that you have submitted to us. So let me call on back Mr. Dennis Fronda and Mr. Ed Del Valle as we officially start our Q&A. Sir Ed? Sir Dennis?
Hi, Shello.
Hello. All right. Sir Dennis, probably will start with you because we got a lot of questions pertaining to the discussion we had earlier. Okay, so this is the first question. Since Metro Manila is under MECQ, are you still accepting housing loan applications?
Hi, Shell. Yes, definitely. We continue to accept applications. In fact, even during the first ECQ last March, we continued to accept applications. We continued to process applications, and we continued to process the payouts to our partner developers such as Avida and Ayala Land. So yes, we are very much here to serve our clients.
Okay, that's good to know. In relation to that, sir, there's also a question that since under this community quarantine, transportation is a concern. They're asking how they can submit their application form and requirements.
Well, Shello, anyone interested to avail of a housing loan can actually submit their home loan applications and requirements in any of the more than 800 BPI or BPI Family Bank branches or 17 retail loan centers nearest them. Also, clients can do this in the comfort of their own homes via online by sending their application through bpiloans.com. So it's very simple. We have plenty of options available for interested clients or borrowers for their home loans and buyers of your properties in Avida.
Thank you, Sir Dennis. It's good to know that you're also online, so applications may be done without face-to-face transaction. All right, so we move on, Sir Ed. Welcome back. There's a question for you. Which, in your opinion, is a better investment? A house or a condo? A house and lot, or a condominium?
Okay, well, hopefully you can hear me. Actually, both. Well, again, it depends. If you invest in a house and lot, these are usually for people who prefer to stay in a very private and rural setting, or a suburban setting. You want to stay away from the hustle and bustle of the city. While a condominium allows you to be within reach of work usually, and the happenings within the urban areas. And as I said, it depends on one's priorities. Usually, a house and lot is much more complicated to manage than a condominium, because in a condominium you have condominium, you know, uh, property managers that usually take care of a lot of things. Plus, the properties are relatively smaller as opposed to a house and lot. But then again, as I said, it varies depending on the priorities of the investor.
Okay. Thank you, EDB, for that. All right. So there is a question. I have an Ayala Land property in mind, but it's being offered to me under pre-selling. Can I apply for a housing loan for this property? This is for you, Sir Dennis.
Yes, Shelo, definitely. Since Avida Land is an accredited partner of BPI Family Savings Bank, they can already apply for a home loan even if the property offered is still in its pre-selling stage.
Okay. All right. That's one of the perks of being in partnership with BPI. As apart from that, no, the loans can be taken from the selling price um, and not the
Appraised.
what was this appraised value of the property.
Appraised
Thank you for
value.
that, Sir Dennis.
Yes.
All right.
Sure. Yes.
So, EDV, there's another question for you. All right. So, given the restrictions on face-to-face contact caused by the pandemic, how do I go about reserving an Avida unit? What are the steps that I should follow to complete my purchase online? This is for you, Sir Ed.
Okay, it's very, very simple. One, you just go to our website. That's www.vidaland.com. And then check our virtual tours. We have a 360 virtual room, what you can showroom that you can actually check the units. And then the second thing that you do is, of course, get in touch. Get in touch with a property consultant. And then third, what you do is simply go online and then fill up a reservation form. They will just need your information where you can, so you can hold the unit that you prefer. And then last, you can pay online using our online reservation system. As I said, they're all in our website. And right now, Avida really went out of its way to make things possible, in the new normal.
All right. Thank you very much, Sir Ed. Okay, for you, Sir Dennis, question is, what can we do for those Filipinos working abroad who do not have BPI bank accounts or any Philippine bank account? As I believe you have audiences here coming from other countries, but would like to apply for a loan and acquiring a property in the Philippines, especially during this pandemic.
Yes, as I mentioned earlier, um, they can apply through online via BPI online, bpiloans.com. But once the loan has been approved, the requirements have been sent to us. Of course, we will be needing them to open an account with us, which is, of course, for them to be able to conveniently pay for their monthly amortization. Secondly, since they're based abroad, we'll also be needing a special power of attorney for someone to sign in their behalf in the Philippines, or if they can come back to the Philippines for vacation, they can do the fulfillment of the loan once they come back to the Philippines. But while they're abroad, while they're outside the country, they can already apply for a loan so we can process their loan. And then once they're back in the Philippines on their vacation, they can just sign the documents and complete the paperwork once they're here.
All right. Thank you for that. Okay. All right. For you, Sir Ed, there's a question. Is it true that condominium ownership lasts up to 50 years only?
Okay, thank you, Shallow, for that question, because that's usually the concern for a lot of buyers. It is not true that condominium ownership lasts only 50 years. This is what happens when you buy a condominium. Okay, when you buy a condominium unit, you automatically become a member of a condominium corporation. And it is the condominium corporation that has a 50-year lifespan. Okay, the condominium in itself, of course, depending on how good the construction is, can last over 50 or 100 years, even more than that. Okay, but the corporation will cease to exist after 50 years. However, that is still renewable for another 50 years. So it really will take a lot for a condominium to cease to exist. Okay, for one, the building in itself has to be declared unlivable. And for instance, even if it's livable and there are some restorations to be done, the condominium members or the unit owners will refuse to do the restorations and the repairs needed. And of course, now these are valid reasons for the condominium to cease to exist, to be demolished, okay, or abandoned. But as I said, it depends on the developer. That's why it's very, very important for buyers to choose the right developer so that you will have a condominium unit or a condominium building that will have the integrity to last, over 50 years or even 100 years.
Okay, thank you for that clarification, Sir Ed. Okay, Sir Dennis, is it possible to apply a home loan for those unmarried couple, meaning boyfriend girlfriend pa lang sila? Can they apply for a loan even if they're not married?
Yeah, yes, they can. Of course, the property will have to be depends on to whom the property will be registered to, right? Whoever the person will be the primary borrower. The partner could be a co-borrower in itself, but the mortgager will be the person to whom the property is registered to.
Okay, and there's a follow-up question, Sir Dennis. I'm 50 years old. What is the maximum loan term I can apply for?
For if you're 50 years old, you could apply for a loan term of up to 20 years past, Chelo. Kasi under our parameters, you have to be set. The maximum term would be 70% upon loan maturity. So if you're 50 years old, you can still take out a loan for 20 years.
Okay.
Mahaba pa, tagal pa.
Mahaba pa. Okay. All right. Okay, I'll continue, Sir Dennis. I'm really interested in acquiring a condominium now, but given the current pandemic, I'm considering to move my plans next year so I can keep my savings intact. Is there a financial solution from BPI which can help me to still acquire today?
Yeah, Shelo, actually in partnership with Ayala Land and Avida, there are diba, right now, there are several payment options on the equity side. So stretch payments for 12 months, 24 months, or even I think up to 60 months. So if for example, a potential client is not yet ready to take out a home loan with us, then they can take this opportunity to build up their equity portion yet. So, and again, that's where our partnership comes in. So they can continue paying the equity portion with you guys. And once they're ready, or once they've accumulated more or less around 10% in equity, then they can already apply for a home loan with us.
Okay. Thank you very much for that, Sir Dennis. Sir Ed, thank you. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for now. Once again, we'd like to thank our guest speakers, Mr. Ed Del Valle and Mr. Dennis Fronda, for gracing us with their presence today. Truly, we learned a lot from you, Sir Ed and Sir Dennis. Thank you very much. Okay, so to our audience, I hope all of you are taking away as much as I am and are all the more inspired to move forward towards more opportunities to achieve your life goals. To make it possible for you to achieve your life goal of owning a dream home, we would like to remind you that Avida is online and available at your own convenience. You may reserve for only 20,000 pesos, save up to 100,000 pesos, and even get a chance to take home a laptop or an air conditioner when you complete the booking process within 30 days. On top of that, you will be eligible for a one-on-one space planning and interior design consultation with Avida's interior design expert. We urge you to take advantage of these perks available only until the last day of August 2020. Now, if you prefer to live in a ready to move in community, we also have projects available at key locations nationwide. Since August is Avida's move-in month, we're very pleased to let you know that we're extending the down payment scheme for up to 36 months for select RFO or existing projects. Okay, so these are built up or live communities. So that's equivalent to about 20,000 pesos per month only for a one bedroom unit at BGC. Okay, one unit, one bedroom unit at BGC for only 20,000 a month. That's an amazing deal. Okay, so take advantage of that. Now is the time to get in touch with your property specialist so they may guide you through availing of our exclusive deals when you reserve this month. If you don't have a property specialist yet, kindly expect an email from us within the day. You may also visit our website, www.avidaland.com, or Avida's official Facebook page for updates on our upcoming activities and for more information on our exclusive deals and perks available only this move-in month of August. Thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in with us during this virtual talk in partnership with Ayala Land and BPI. Keep safe. I hope you learned a lot. Start investing now and grab the opportunities that are presented before you. See you next week for Avida's second Ready to Move Learning webinar. This is your host, Shella Flores. Thank you very much. Stay safe.
From a life on your own to a family of your own. From romantic dates to play dates. From small passions to huge successes. From the saddest endings to happier beginnings. From walking her to school to walking her down the aisle. Whatever change, one thing that's constant is home. Celebrating 30 years of life moments. Avida.